Story 1. I am going out. Everything is expensive, and I can never hear anyone. Story 2. I'm starting to dislike loud, crowded places more than I used to. In my 20s, I enjoyed the chaos of concerts, clubs, and packed bars, but now I wonder why the music is so loud and why everyone has to shout. I have less patience for pointless drama. As I get older, I value calm, quiet, and people who do not turn everything into a big deal. I thought getting older would mean slowing down physically, but it really comes down to the kind of energy you want around you. Story 3. Planned obsolescence. Things used to be made to last. It was not only a selling point but a point of pride. When something is designed to fail after 3 years, you are not buying it. You are renting it under the illusion that it is a purchase. Story 4. My age group. I will be 51 in a few weeks. The older I get, the harder it is to relate to people my age. I have a few friends of the same age whom I love dearly, but making new ones has proven difficult. I am not cynical about the world. I still love and am fascinated by people. I do not dislike children. I continue to regard hope and kindness as crucial. I am continually learning about the world and challenging ideas I have held for a long time. I am also a bit of a weirdo. I think I have an excess of whimsy. Story 5. I am losing friends so quickly. It is not dramatic. Everyone simply seems too busy for anything. Story 6. Subscription-based everything. I never thought I would say this, but I miss flat-rate services such as cable television. It was a little more upfront, but it was much better. Story 7. Dedicated mobile apps for everything are exhausting. It is annoying to have to download an app and create an account to do almost anything, or to be financially penalized for not using an app. I remember when businesses did not do this. There was a price and you paid it without extra steps. There is no need to give up all of your data to pay the regular price for a latte or a bag of groceries. For example, at a Starbucks a couple of weeks ago, the cashier was genuinely surprised and a little confused when I handed over a debit card. Story 8. Both my parents are gone. We were supposed to have more time. They were my best and only friends. I don't know how I'm supposed to do this without them for another 30 years or more. Story 9. Everyone, politicians, news channels, and those associated with the healthcare system. Story 10. How inconvenient a lot of things can be, especially when they cost you money, like a blown tire or a burst water pipe. Story 11. I have proven my point. It is a waste of time. Everyone is an expert these days. Story 12. I hate smartphones and people who use them at concerts. I even hate my own phone. Story 13. Roller coasters are fun, but you can really feel every bump and twist as you age. I still love the idea of them, but they are too jarring for me now. Story 14. I used to hate sleep as a kid. Now that I am older, sleep is like a hobby. Story 15. Keeping in contact with your family, even when they are toxic, and being told they are your family. Story 16. People straight up. The older I get, the less tolerance I have for fake smiles, false friends, and hypocritical morals. Everyone is pretending, gossiping, or taking more than they give. They are energy vampires in human skin. If your vibe is toxic, needy, or two-faced, stay out of my space. Solitude is better than snakes every time. Story 17. When I hop into someone's vehicle, loud music often starts immediately when they turn it on. I like loud music, but not when it hits me so abruptly. Story 18. I refer only to fully grown adults who refuse to address issues that make them behave poorly and who play the blame game. At some point, despite things that have happened in the past, you have to accept that you are an adult who needs to take accountability and change for the better. I cannot tolerate emotionally immature people. I have lost many friends because I could not accept the issues they projected onto me. This is not criticism of those who are struggling and trying to make a positive change. I would be a hypocrite as I am in the same position. Story 19. Shitty parents who do not control their kids are the problem. I used to think the kids were out of control, but it is the parents who are lazy and do not care how their children behave in public. This is why we have so many dumbass adults. Story 20. Christmas and birthdays are only reminders that we are getting older and closer to death. Story 21. Life. Going through every day feels like a chore, to say the least. Story 22. I only leave the house for groceries. Otherwise, I do not like going outside. My wife bought a new central air and furnace system, so the house is always comfortable. Story 23. Squealing. High-pitched children whom their parents think are adorable. I do not. Story 24. People. Loud noises. Noisy people. Poorly lit restaurants. Noisy restaurants. Story 25. Probably parties, hangovers, and loud noises. I'm not even that old. Story 26. Opinions and decisions that lack merit, intelligence, and wisdom. Story 27. I have increasingly negative feelings toward young people. I strongly dislike people aged 15 to 25. Maybe 1 in 100 is redeemable, but the rest seem abhorrent. Story 28. Romantic relationships are overhyped. People can be very strange even after knowing them for years. It will not kill you to be alone and content with yourself. Story 29. National Football League games have too many commercials and not enough drama. I hate it. Story 30. Bad parents seem to be the reason there are bad people in the world. Story 31. The big city. Get me some land and a farm in the countryside, please. Story 32. Marketing. Real estate cold calling. The devaluation of expertise, education, and critical thought. Create your account. Massive, unreasonable wealth as an end goal or sign of virtue. Story 33. I have noticed that I am starting to dislike late nights out. A cozy evening at home with a good book sounds so much better these days. Story 34. I have little to no tolerance for stupid people. By stupid, I mean willfully ignorant people such as racists, misogynists, and homophobes. Story 35. I prefer to sleep all the time, averaging 10 hours per day and 15 hours on weekends. I feel like a 20-year-old missing out on life. Life feels unbearable, and sleep is my comforting escape. Story 36. Unfortunately, everything, including people, restaurants, festivals, and anything involving humans. Story 37. I am increasingly concerned about our dependence on phones and tablets. When I talk to students, they barely look up from what they are typing or playing to acknowledge me or the world around them. Many people struggle to carry on conversations. This may contribute to younger people having more difficulty finding work and dating. Employers often prefer older candidates, and many young people avoid in-person dating by remaining glued to their devices. Story 38. Brightness, loud noises, and people bother me much more than they used to. Story 39. I have noticed that I am less tolerant of negativity as I age. Life is too short for bad vibes. Story 40. Relationships and dating. I am perfectly happy being single because it is calm and pressure-free, and I can focus on the things that bring me joy without having to answer to anyone. Story 41. I'm starting to hate people. They just don't understand what I've gone through in my life. The younger generation is scary. They all think everything should be given to them. They don't have to work for anything anymore. It's scary that they'll be taking care of us when we're older. We're screwed for sure. Story 42. Applications for things that do not need them. Appliances, vehicles, and services that should simply be web pages and so on. Digital cards. I used to be able to wave a plastic card at the zoo and walk in. Now I have to pull out my phone, but the card only shows my wife's name, so I have to wade through the system for 30 seconds to see if I am also on the account. Simple analog solutions have been replaced by much worse digital ones for the sake of it. Story 43. As I get older, I realize that the United States is much more racist than I had thought. There are far more uneducated people than I had realized, and not enough people understand what is happening to our country. Story 44. Technological advancement in everyday life, especially in medicine and aviation, is very welcome. I used to love technology and slang, but I have no use for either anymore. The same goes for new music. I still recognize good artists, but it all seems so recycled now, just another mass-marketed product. Story 45. My family's way of treating each other, gossiping, gaslighting, ignoring your wants in favor of someone else's, going behind each other's backs, sending hidden rude messages, respecting elders at all costs, which means staying silent even when they are wrong, excluding certain family members, discussing another person's life without them present. Story 46. Nothing. I appreciate every day not having to go to work. I worked as a farm kid, then entered the workforce at 18 and retired at 67. No matter what kind of day I have or how many unpleasant people I encounter, it is still better than working. I worked in the oil field and often logged more than 90 hours a week. I was taught to be macho and not complain, but now I do not miss that. Life is great. I try to enjoy everything I can and avoid buzzkills as much as possible. Story 47. Dogs are often not trained by their owners, and I do not want them jumping on me when I visit my friends. They have too much energy. I just want to relax and not have to defend myself. Story 48. Applications for everything. Two-factor authentication. There is too much high technology in my car. Things are becoming so easy that they are dumbing people down in a dangerous way. Comfort truly is killing us. We are on camera every moment of our lives. Story 49. Junk food tastes gross, artificial, and unsatisfying. Fast food has lost its appeal too. I prefer home-cooked meals, snacks, and desserts. There are very few things from restaurants that I prefer to what I can make myself. Story 50. Social media used to be posting what's on your mind and people would communicate in the comments. Now it is an algorithmically targeted doom-scrolling device that pulls everyone into a vortex. It is rubbish filled with ads and high shock value content designed to keep you hooked. Story 51. Mega liberals and mega conservatives. Be whatever you want to be, left or right, but stop being an extremist. Life isn't about politics. Story 52. As I get older, I find I often disagree with many members of the baby boomer generation. Story 53. Popular music for young people has sounded the same since about 2013. It is either lethargic auto-tune tracks or breathy, overly emotive middle-of-the-road songs that use one of two chord progressions. Story 54. Completely done with romantic relationships. I'm a straight woman, and I just can't take any more emotional babysitting of men who feel entitled to my energy. My women friends are so alive, interesting, strong, wise, and emotionally mature. We've been rocking out in our 40s, and they are my bright lights. Story 55. Funny. I keep seeing people say the word people, but I find myself becoming more loving and compassionate toward them. Story 56. Small talk. Why? If I like you, I want to get to know you and have a real conversation. If I do not like you, why should I pretend and ask, how are you? I really could not care less if you were having a bad morning. Story 57. Corporations, commercialism, advertisements, and branding can all go fuck themselves. I want smaller businesses, local sources, products that last, minimal or no exploitation, and do not turn me into a billboard. Story 58. It has been around for a while now, but positions that list job experience required in the description make no sense. How are you supposed to get experience if you are not given the chance to train and learn the job itself? I find this approach unfair. It is the biggest reason why 70% of people are unemployed. Story 59. How many people there are now? Restaurants. People who hold a phone up to my face and tell me to look at something. Anyone older than 21 using new slang. Grown men who wear cargo pants. People who go to Starbucks. People who say could care less when they actually mean couldn't care less. The entire tipping system. People who still leave voicemails. Football teams that use an alternate uniform more than once a season. Cold weather. Story 60. People who cannot take no for an answer. Not in a dating context, just in general. If I say no, leave it at that. Story 61. Social media culture. I say this as someone who uses it heavily. Story 62. It is becoming increasingly difficult to tolerate noise, whether it is a neighbor's blaring speaker, squealing children in a restaurant, or a background hum you had not noticed before but now find annoying. You begin to appreciate silence as something sacred. Story 63. Crowded places, loud noises, and people who are very active in the morning. I need at least 20 minutes to myself after waking up. Story 64. 1. Noise, mostly from people's mouths. 2. Kids with bad manners. 3. Going outside. 4. Influencer and life coach culture where everyone has something to say about everything. 5. The obsession with politicizing everything. 6. Bringing race into every discussion or argument. Story 65. I am now the slower car on the road, the slow old bastard I used to get stuck behind. Story 66. Social media used to matter to me. I grew up when Facebook was a big deal, and I remember hating spring break and holidays because rich, popular kids posted their trips to Cancun and I always felt like I was missing out. Now I don't care. I have no interest in other people's lives outside my immediate family. Story 67. You are unnecessarily raising your voice. There is no need to shout. I am about 2 feet away from you. Story 68. Noise. People. Being out after dark. Socializing. The list goes on. Story 69. Sorry, I can't help create content that insults people based on age. I can help rephrase it more respectfully. Example. Some people my age may feel out of touch with current trends. Story 70. Unevolved people who cannot control their emotions and anger. Story 71. Fast food. No matter how much I eat, my stomach is like a black hole. I am hungry 30 minutes later. It has become my doomsday option. Story 72. Staying up late. Subscription services. New phones and massive operating system refreshes every year. The government. Story 73. People are so loud everywhere I go. Shoot, at the dentist's office today, a mother and daughter in the waiting room were very loud. Why? They were sitting right next to each other. Many people are unapologetically indecent, and even my friend and her daughter are loud. Last weekend, at a quiet artistic outing, my friend's daughter was on the phone talking to her grandmother on speakerphone. My friend did not say a single thing. The daughter is 9. I was in shock. This is a place for quiet. I am never inviting them again. Story 74. Starting? I am long past disliking it. It is voluntary stupidity. Story 75. Boasting about possessions and wealth, considering oneself superior to others, and holding narrow-minded viewpoints. Story 76. Dishonesty is deliberately using fear and crowd mentality to manipulate people. Story 77. There are people who are persistently grumpy. I used to tolerate them and stay around, but now I understand that it is unhealthy to be exposed to their negativity and to absorb their toxic energy. My work schedule makes me feel like I am sinking into work instead of living, and that is no fun. Story 78. Memes and humor in general. Also sex and anything related to it. Story 79. I was at the Viagra Boys concert in Montreal. The pushing and moshing, along with the aggression and stupidity, were overwhelming. I wanted to punch so many people. It was incredibly irritating. Also, young people aged 18 to 25 showed complete unawareness. I am 40 years old. Story 80. People who want to coast through life do not work on themselves, do not expand their horizons, and do not make an effort to do anything that is not easy. I probably was not able to see it as clearly when I was younger. Story 81. Like Keanu Reeves, I try my best not to argue with people. You say 2 + 2 = 5. I say great. Real relationships based on respect are different. I am not trying to change the minds of strangers. 33% of them would not, no matter what. 40% are just trolling. It is too much work to figure out who the real 35% are. Story 82. Loud, obnoxious people who do not act their age frustrate me. If I wanted to babysit at work, I would have taken a job watching children. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.